Did you know that according to the National Association of Realtors, 47% of people who used an agent last year used that person because they were a direct referral from a friend, neighbor, or relative? That's almost half of the business done last year was done from someone that knew someone. Time to get going on building your SOI if you haven't done so already. Your SOI, or sphere of influence, is the first place that I suggest my agents start marketing to. It's comprised of your friends, family, work associates, past clients, really anyone who would pick up the phone if you called them. Now, there's a myriad of places that you can use as a resource to start putting together your SOI list. Your kid's soccer coach, your hairstylist, the manager of the grocery store you frequent, your mechanic, your gardener, even your yoga instructor. I recommend building your list to at least 100 people. That's a great number to start with. I suggest using an Excel spreadsheet or even just writing the names down on a piece of paper to get started. Once you have a complete list, now start adding in all of the contact information that you already have. But don't reach out to them to get their contact information just yet. So what I consider a complete contact in my SOI list is going to be their name, their phone number, their email address, and a mailing address. Now, I also try to gather birthdays, anniversaries, special events, reasons that I can use to reach out to them and just let them know that I'm thinking about them. These genuine touches make you stand out from all the other agents that are just sending templated messages around the holidays. Now, once I have all the contact information that I already knew, or maybe I did a little research on my own, then I'm going to actually reach out to the person and gather the rest of the contact information that I couldn't find. For instance, maybe I had their phone number but not their email address, or maybe I had their email address but not their mailing address. So when I call, text, or email, I'm going to let them know why I'm reaching out. If I'm a brand new agent or even a newer agent, I'm going to say, I recently became a new agent and I really want to focus my time and energy on being a resource to provide information to my friends and family. I'm reaching out to you because I value our friendship, and I imagine it's okay if I add you to my list of people who would be willing to refer me if they knew anybody that was looking to buy or sell real estate. Now, of course, they're going to say yes. How could they not? So then I'm going to say, thank you so much. I'm learning the business really quickly because I'm a member of ABC Brokerage, whatever brokerage you end up choosing. And as you know, in my previous life, I was a blank. Whatever experience will lend towards what you're doing now with real estate. For instance, if you were a barista or a hostess at a restaurant, those things could be chalked up to customer service. I know how to take care of clients. I know how to make sure they get what they want. So then I'd follow up with, I'm dedicated to becoming the best real estate agent out there in a very short amount of time. Do you know anyone who's looking to buy or sell real estate? Now, once you've talked to them and you've got all of their contact information, I'd start a separate list where you have everyone that you've got complete contact information. The reason I do this is I don't want to lose them or lose track of the others that I haven't got all of their information yet. So I'll have two lists. I'll have one with missing information and one with complete information. My team uses Google Docs. They'll put all of their information in a Google Doc. Once they've talked to them and they have complete contact information, they'll add them to our CRM. So if you have a CRM, fantastic, do it that way. But if you don't, it's no big deal. Just use an Excel spreadsheet or even a notebook. When I was new to the business, we used to write each contact on a note card and then put all of those note cards in a recipe box. My point is, no matter what you do, as long as it works for you, it's great. So now that you have your list, we need to add columns to track all of your follow-up efforts. Studies have shown that consistent follow-up will create massive results with your SOI. In the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, written by Gary Keller, it recommends 33 touches over a 12-month period. That's 29 text messages, emails, and face-to-face interactions, along with 4 phone calls every year. So make sure to add enough columns to track all of that activity. So you'll want to space your contacts out pretty evenly over the course of a year, and even though I don't count it as a touch, I would definitely add them to your social media platforms. Remember, be a human billboard. Your name is your brand. Now, you definitely want to plan your content out at least 2 months in advance. But I know a lot of agents who actually plan out all of their content for the entire year up front. When all of this marketing starts to work, and it will, you're going to get busy. You don't want this to be a distraction while you're taking care of your clients. Now, one last thing I want to mention, never stop adding people to your list. This is crucial because your list is always going to be evolving. People move away, or maybe they or someone they know become an agent. Things happen, so you always want to be planning and adding more people to your list. I recommend at least one person a week, or 50 to 52 people a year. It won't be a big deal because now everything's automated. So I have to be honest, it took me a long time to adopt an SOI strategy. As a newer agent, I never wanted to find myself in a situation where I didn't know the answer of the question they asked. I felt like immediately that would make me look inexperienced or like I don't know what I'm doing. As I became more experienced, I thought, well, I don't want to look like I'm begging for business. So when I finally started working the system and reaching out to my SOI, I had some disappointing conversations. A lot of my SOI had said, oh yeah, we just bought a house, or just sold a house, or yeah, my cousin just bought a house. It was frustrating. But you know what? It showed me that this system really does work. And I knew that if I stayed consistent, the next time they would use me to buy or sell a house, or they'd refer me to their friends and family. So because I plan out my marketing ahead of time, I was able to make sure that I had really good content that was helpful to my people. That way I never felt like I was begging for business. I focused first on providing value, and then I knew the referrals and the business will come naturally. So once I started my marketing plan, it took a little bit to get up and running. It definitely wasn't instantaneous, so I recommend getting up and running as soon as possible if you haven't already started marketing to your SOI. So let's talk results. Within the first full consistent year, my SOI list of 114 people generated 4 transactions. Nothing amazing, but it was just getting started. The next year, I sold 18 homes from the same list, and the third year, I sold 26. That's not even including the additional names that I added to that list each year. I'm telling you, there's nothing better than getting a phone call or a text message saying, hey, come over and list my house. Or reach out to my sister, she needs to buy soon. It's an incredible feeling. So a couple of quick things I noticed about my SOI marketing. Phone calls are absolutely vital. I can't tell you how many times I've reached out to my SOI. In the middle of the phone call, they give me a referral. In fact, 40% of our SOI referrals were started with just phone calls. And number 2, mailing postcards are awesome. I think people receive a lot of text messages and emails, and those are great. But text messages are open, read, and forgotten about. Not a lot of real estate agents are sending traditional mail in addition to the text messages and emails, meaning your postcard or even your handwritten thank you card will be seen and remembered. So let's talk about text messages. Like I said before, text messages have an amazing open rate. As high as 98% of your text messages get read. So what should you say in a text message? I like to keep it super simple. Hi, I was just checking in to see how things are going. With the changes in the market, a lot of my clients have been asking what that's doing to their home value. So I wanted to reach out and see if you'd like a free home valuation. I'm happy to send you one. I hope you're doing wonderful. Let me know if you need anything. I'd also send one of your allotted text messages to say happy birthday or happy anniversary. These texts are great opportunities to stay top of mind with no sales pressure. I know I always feel great getting a happy birthday text on my birthday. So we have great success with text messages pretty much any time of the day. People always seem to have their phones with them now, and if they don't, then the message is just waiting for them when they pick it up. So if you're reaching out to them 29 times over the course of a year, that's about every 3 weeks you're going to be contacting them. Because text messages have a much higher read rate, I like to use them more often. I encourage you to use 8 to 10 text messages over that 12-month period if you're mailing postcards. If you're not mailing postcards, then I would increase your text messages to probably 15 to 18 times. So earlier, I mentioned mailing postcards. I'm here to tell you, postcards are an undervalued marketing piece, and I highly recommend making them a part of your SOI campaign. I send out a postcard to everyone in my SOI once a month. My postcards typically have fun tips and tricks and then local stats on the back. You should be able to get those stats from your local MLS or your board of realtors. But make sure to use good quality information that will appeal to both buyers and sellers. One that's been really popular lately is comparing home sales from this year versus last year. And then I always include a call to action at the bottom. For instance, call or text for a free home valuation. So I've used both 4x6 inch postcards as well as 5x7 inch postcards. Both work really great. I prefer the 5x7 size. It gives a better presentation and I feel like the verbiage is easier to read. However, the cost of printing a 5x7 postcard is significantly more, and if you use the 4x6 postcard, you can use a postcard stamp. They're considerably cheaper. No matter what the content is, I like to do full color on both the front and the back with a glossy finish on the front. You want to avoid a glossy finish on the back because if you're handwriting or you're putting a mailing label on there, it makes it a little more difficult. If you're working with a mailing company, they're going to require that it's a matte finish on the back as well. So over the years, I've used a lot of different mailing companies. I've printed labels. I've even handwritten addresses on the back myself. Any of those 3 ways will work. Handwriting the information's a little bit cheaper, but it's exhausting. So choose whatever works best for you. Now, if you decide to use a mailing company, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. Number 1, whomever's designing your postcard, make sure they stick to the strict dimensions that the mailing company will require. They don't mess around. And number 2, make sure you allow sufficient time to get your postcards printed and mailed, either to you or if that company is mailing them directly out to your clients. I personally would have the mailers designed and to the printer at least 30 days in advance so that you have plenty of time to get them out. I have to admit, I've had a couple of times where my postcards have not been done on time. Have you ever sent your July 4th postcard out on the 12th? So frustrating. So what are some of our most popular postcards and the ones we get the most response from? We send out a spring home prep checklist in March and a fall home prep checklist in September. We send them every year, and we have for a long time, so people are actually watching for them now. If they come out a little bit later, people will call us and ask if they're still getting their postcard. In January, we'll send out a postcard with the top home projects that will increase your home's value this year. That one's really popular. And in June, we always send out the upcoming firework displays for July 4th. All right, on to emails. Emails have a much lower open rate than text messages, but they give you a lot more space to convey your message. Also, to add videos or graphics or links to things. We make sure all of our emails are fun, helpful topics, mostly non-real estate related. And then we include our market data at the very bottom, so that we don't look salesy, we just look helpful. This has also helped our open rate. People get emails all day, every day. We just like to make ours fun and entertaining so that they'll actually open it. For example, in December, we send out a list of all of our home holiday light displays throughout our area. One of the local news stations actually builds that list, and then people can add their suggestions to it as we go through the month of December. We source it, and then we link it back to our website. This way, the information is always real time, and we don't have to do anything. In addition to the main content, you guessed it, we always add our local market data at the bottom of every email. We also include links back to our website, one that has a seller CMA request and another that says buyer helpful information. That'll take them back to our buyer presentation, as well as a link so they can go back to our website and look at properties from our IDX. Some other emails we've built are lists of farmers markets, both in the spring and in the fall. Another popular one is ski resort openings. We have a lot of ski resorts around us. Top 10 hikes, non-toxic pest control, gardening tricks, the list goes on. We've tested every time and every day, and pretty much always Wednesdays and Thursdays at 7 o'clock has been our best open rate. So let's talk social media. You should definitely be including social media in your SOI marketing campaign. I don't count it as a touch, but it's a great way to connect with people on a personal and a business level. We duplicate all of our content we use for our emails and postcards, and then we build out social media posts. Any image we build is going to be a 1080 by 1080 so that it works on all platforms. Last but not least, phone calls. Now, if you're consistent with everything we just talked about, your SOI will know that you're a real estate agent. But it won't have the same impact or generate the same business as it would if you were calling everyone in your SOI and having a conversation 4 times a year. Phone calls are the biggest lead generator that I personally have ever used in my real estate career. A phone call puts you on a more personal level with that person, and like I said before, I can't tell you how many times I've received referrals on those phone calls. It's crucial. We call the people in our SOI 4 times a year. That's once per quarter. Even if you talk to your SOI for other reasons, you still want to call as a business person and discuss business. I'd say, hey John, I know we talked the other day, but I wanted to call and talk to you about real estate. Is now a good time? This shows them that you're a professional. It shows them that you value them and you want them to have the same information that you've been sharing with your other friends and family. Honestly, they might feel left out if they know you're calling and sharing this information with your other friends and family, but every time you call them, it's just a chit chat. So I found that the absolute best time to call is weekdays between 6 and 8 p.m. or Saturdays between 8 and noon. That doesn't mean it's your only option, and if you can't do it during that time, any time is better than not calling at all. My call script follows a very similar script to my text message. I want to be short and sweet and then typically get into an easygoing conversation about life and jobs and all the other things we talk about on a regular basis. In the beginning though, it's really important that you control that phone call. So I'd say, hi, it's Micah, how are you? I wanted to reach out and talk to you about real estate. Is now a good time? The real estate market is constantly changing, and a lot of my clients have been reaching out and asking questions about it. I just wanted to make sure you didn't have any questions. I'll let them answer and then I'll go on. I'm always available to answer questions or gather information if there's anything I can do to help. Would it be helpful if I put together a home valuation on your current home just so you know what the value is? Then the part that none of us really enjoy, but you have to ask for referrals. It's simple though. Do you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell real estate? The reason we have to ask is we have to keep that in their mind, so as they do come across people, they remember to let you know. So as you can tell, I like to keep it soft, not very salesy, but very professional, and I always ask for referrals because I want my SOI to think of me every time they hear of somebody talking about real estate. Hopefully this information was helpful, but if you want to supercharge your SOI campaign, we need to talk about pop buys and your top 50 list. But that's for another video. Thanks so much for sticking with me. We post videos constantly, so please subscribe to our channel so you can be notified of those videos as soon as they come out. Also, if you have topics or ideas that you want to cover, we'd love to add those to our list.